Have you ever felt something inside you has changed, but you can't explain exactly what? As if your interests, your energy, and even your perception of life were going through a silent revolution. Perhaps you have noticed that certain people walked away, objects began to break for no apparent reason, or, perhaps, time just stopped making sense. If it sounds familiar, then no, it is not coincidence. You are going through a spiritual awakening, and the signs are everywhere, just know how to see them. But here is the truth that few people say: this process can be uncomfortable. Its energy is being recalibrated, and that means old patterns are dissolving to make room for the new. But instead of flowing with this change, we often resist. We question, doubt, and even try to grab ourselves to what no longer makes sense. The problem? Resisting the process only makes everything harder. The secret is to understand what is happening, accept transformation, and learn to act aligned with this new vibration. In this video, we will decipher the spiritual signs that indicate that your consciousness is changing. You will understand why your routine is different, why certain past people are reappearing, and how all this is connected to your life purpose. Most importantly, you will find out how to use these signs to your advantage to speed up your evolution and avoid falling into the traps that hold so many people on this journey. So if you feel something inside you are changing, but you still don't know what to do with it, stay with me until the end. Because after understanding these signs, your view of all this will never be the same. Something inside you is changing, and you feel it. Their interests are no longer the same. Certain conversations seem empty, and places that once made sense now seem colorless. This is not a simple moment of boredom or demotivation, but a spiritual awakening. Its interior is aligning with a new frequency, and that means that your worldview is being recalibrated. It is as if you are changing skin, and, let's face it, this can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary for evolution. Your wishes are different, and you may notice that some things that once seemed essential now no longer make sense. Consuming certain foods, music, or even habits may be causing you a strange feeling, as if your body rejected it. This is because your energy is changing, and what was once vibrated in the same tune as you now no longer resonate. Small spiritual signs come in everyday life. You may see numerical patterns, more vivid dreams, or even an increase in your emotional sensitivity. Self-knowledge begins to deepen, and this can bring moments of questioning. Who am I, after all? Why do I feel something inside me is changing? Don't be alarmed, this is part of the life cycle and evolution. Think of it as a transition phase, a moment where you are starting to make room for something bigger. The process can be challenging, for the human mind resists change, but remember, resisting only makes everything more difficult. Acceptance of the process is the lightest way to move on. And with this internal transformation, changes in routine begin to happen. You may feel a sudden desire to reorganize, to abandon old patterns, to seek new experiences. All of this is part of the energy recalibration that is happening. But how to know that this change goes beyond a simple phase? Well, when the transformation happens from the inside out, the physical world begins to give signs of it, and that's where we enter the next point. Have you noticed that suddenly certain objects start to break for no apparent reason? Or maybe things are mysteriously and then reappear in unlikely places. This is not just coincidence or distraction, it is a clear sign that your energy is changing. When we go through an energy recalibration, our vibrational field adjusts, and this can interfere with the environment around us. Think about it as an antenna tuning a new frequency. Some things are no longer aligned and end up. Another curious sign is the feeling that electronic devices seem more unstable close to you. Maybe your cell phone gets more than usual, or the lights blink for no reason. These phenomena may indicate that their energy field is undergoing deep adjustments. Your body is emitting a different vibration, and the physical world responds to it. If important objects break, it can be a sign that something in your life needs to be left behind. Have you ever thought that perhaps that broken watch represents your perception of time changed? This does not mean that everything around it is crumbling. On the contrary, it is a sign that a new alignment is happening. A classic example, many people report that during moments of transformation, furniture starts ranger more, doors close alone, or even mirrors. This may seem scary, but it is actually just the materialization of an energy that is changing within you. The universe finds symbolic forms to show that something needs to be noticed. So instead of worrying about broken or missing objects, see this as a reminder: your internal transformation is already reflecting in the outside world. But this change does not only affect material things, it also changes the way you perceive time. And maybe you have already felt it on the skin. Have you ever felt the days are going too fast? Or, on the contrary, did you realize times when time seemed dragged, as if the clock was still? This sensation is not just an illusion, it is a direct effect of your energy change. When your consciousness expands, your perception of time changes. This is because you are vibrating at a new frequency, and what was once a linear time flow begins to behave differently. Many report that during periods of spiritual awakening, days seem to fly, while certain intense experiences seem to last much longer. This may be an indication that your mind is disconnecting from the old way of measuring time. Do you know that feeling of looking at the clock and seeing what time have passed in a blink eye? Or, on the contrary, get stuck in a conversation or situation that never seems to end? Your brain is processing time differently because your consciousness is expanding. This can affect your routine in unexpected forms. You may realize that your productivity changes, that certain tasks that once took time now happen quickly, or vice versa. If this is happening, try working with smaller focus cycles, such as the Pomodoro technique, to adapt better. In addition, sleep itself can be impacted. Some people feel they sleep little, but wake up rest, while others go through periods of insomnia without explanation. This is all part of energy recalibration. And do you know what is most interesting? This altered perception of time often precedes the return of people from the past. After all, if your conscience is changing and accessing new perspectives, why not revisit old stories? But calm down, it doesn't happen by chance. Suddenly an unexpected message arrives. Someone you haven't seen in your life for years, as if time had not passed. Coincidence? No way. When you go through an internal transformation, the universe puts you face to face with unfinished chapters. These people of the past do not resurface by chance, they bring with them lessons that still need to be understood. It is a reflection of your own growth. What you thought has overcome may need a deeper look. Perhaps it is a former friend, an old coworker, or even a relationship that seemed to be closed. When this happens, ask yourself, what does this person still represent to me? If there is discomfort, hurt, or repetitive patterns, it is a clear sign that there is something to be resolved. Often these old connections come back not to stay, but to help you close a cycle. They are like mirrors, showing how much you have changed, or what you still need to change. What if this person brings memories of who you were, but who no longer make sense in your current life? In this case, see this as an opportunity to reaffirm your new frequency. Not all connections must be resumed, some appear only to test your discernment. Sometimes true evolution is to realize that you no longer fit these ancient standards. If you feel that the energy of this reunion weighs, listen to your intuition and move on. The past teaches, but does not need to define its future. This phenomenon happens because the universe is preparing you for something bigger. When you resolve emotional issues, it makes room for the new. And it is at this moment that those impulses of change appear, to tidy up the house, exchange furniture, let go of the old man. And if you are feeling this desire, know that it is a clear sign of your internal transformation. Without warning, it beats that uncontrollable urge to rearrange the furniture, change the decoration, or get rid of things that have been stored for years. This is not just an outbreak of organization, it is a reflection of its internal transformation. When your energy changes, the environment around you needs to keep up with this new vibration. Objects accumulate memories, and, when cleaning, organizing, and detaching, you are actually allowing your life to flow at a new rhythm. This impulse of change can arise in many ways. It can be a desire to change food, adopt new habits, or even change the style of clothing. Small changes reflect a great process of energy recalibration. If you feel this need, follow the instinct. Donate what no longer makes sense, rearranges your space so that it is aligned with the energy you want to attract. A practical example. Marie Kondo's method of organization suggests that you only keep what brings you joy. It makes sense, no? In addition to changes in the environment, you may notice that your routine no longer satisfies you the same way. What was once comfortable now seems monotonous. This is because your mind and spirit are seeking experiences more aligned with your life purpose. Perhaps it is time to try a new hobby, study something different, or simply insert new habits in everyday life, such as meditation or outdoor hiking. Small adjustments can make a big difference in your energy. And the most curious? When this desire for change arises, life often responds with a moment of break. It is as if the universe said, before you move on, stop a little and integrate everything that is happening. And if you feel that your life is stagnant now, maybe that's exactly what is happening. Everything seems to slow down. Plans that were in progress lock without explanation, opportunities that seemed certain simply disappear, and the feeling is that the universe pressed the pause button. This can be frustrating, but it is one of the most important spiritual signs. When life stops, it is because you need to assimilate your internal transformation before going to the next level. This break is not punishment, but a necessary adjustment on your journey. Often we resist this phase. We try to force things to happen in our time, but the more we push, the more we feel the heavy energy, as if we were walking against an invisible tide. Accepting the process is the secret for this phase to pass faster. Instead of fighting the flow, take this moment to look inside. What is your intuition trying to show you? What needs to be reviewed before the next life cycle and evolution start? During this time you may feel a greater need for introspection. You may realize that you need to rest more, get away from some people, or just slow down. This does not mean that you are regressing, on the contrary, it is a moment of deep realignment. Great changes require moments of break for energy to stabilize. It is like a seed that needs time on earth before sprouting. You may not see the growth happening now, but it is there, silent and powerful. And do you know what happens right after this phase of break? The signs begin to become even more evident. You begin to see patterns, realize new directions, and feel clarity you didn't have before. But this clarity only comes to who knows how to recognize the signs and act at the right time. The signs are everywhere, but are you really paying attention? When we go through a great internal transformation, the universe not only puts us in pause, but also sends us clear messages over the next step. A repeated number, an unexpected conversation, a book that comes up at the right time. None of this is random. They are small pushes to guide you toward your life purpose. But knowing how to recognize the signs is not enough, you need to act. Many people perceive the spiritual signs, but hesitates to take the next step. Fear, doubt, and even the old comfort zone make many ignore the calls of the universe. But do you know that insistent intuition, that idea that doesn't get out of your mind, that coincidence that seems to pursue you? They are there because something bigger is waiting for you. If you feel you need to change your career, start a project, cut ties, or jump, now it's time. Don't wait for the perfect moment, it doesn't exist. Change happens when you decide to move. To facilitate this transition, start small. If a new path looks scary, divide it into smaller steps. Want to change professional area? Start studying on the subject, connecting with people who are already where you want to be. Do you feel you need to delve into self-knowledge? Experience practices such as therapeutic writing, meditation, or even a spiritual retreat. The important thing is not to ignore the signs and take at least one step in the right direction. And here is a powerful detail: when you recognize and respond to signs, your energy changes, and the universe responds by accelerating the process. The doors begin to open, new opportunities come up, and life finally begins to flow again. After all this path of transformation had a greater purpose. And now, with everything you have learned, a new journey begins. Now that you know the signs, the big question is, what are you going to do with it? Will you ignore and pretend nothing is happening, or will you accept that your energy is changing and acting according to this new frequency? The truth is that the universe does not send signs for nothing, it is calling you to a higher level of consciousness. But the choice of moving or staying stagnant will always be yours. Stop and reflect: which of these signs are already appearing in your life? Do you feel things are changing, but are you still afraid to follow this flow? What keeps you from embracing this internal transformation once and for all? Perhaps it is time to release the past, accept changes, and finally open to your true evolution. Life is giving you clues, but it's up to you to decipher them and act. And now I want to know, which of these signs have you noticed on your journey? Leave your experience here in the comments, because sharing can help other people who are also going through this. Oh, and if this content has made sense to you, you already subscribe to the channel and enable notifications. Thus, you continue to receive more insights and learning about this incredible journey of spiritual awakening. The next step is before you. The only question left is, are you ready to make this leap?